Hey everyone, welcome back. So, getting things set up once again for our weekly show where we go over some of the most current Nintendo Switch news, gaming news, and we also generally take a look at the new Switch games coming out for the week. Now, we've got actually some pretty fun stories. I'm just finishing the stream setup, by the way, so we're going to do a general intro here, but yeah, we've got a lot of interesting Switch stories this week. We've got once again a lot of Nintendo Switch 2 leaks or rumors or call it what you will. We're going to be taking a look at what they are. Do I find them credible or whatnot? We've also got some announcement of a couple of games, upcoming games, some potential games that might be coming as well. We've got some delisting to take a look at too, because we have a couple of games being delisted in different ways. One's actually being replaced, another one's pure just being delisted. And like I said, we've got a lot of upcoming Switch games this week, but I'm glad to say this week is not going to be insanely crazy like last week. Like, we've got a decent amount of games coming out this week, but it's relatively normal. Relatively normal. Now, give me just a sec here. I'm gonna just kill. Oh, actually, you guys don't have the audio yet, so it's good. That's what I wanted. Because, like I said, I'm just finishing up the quick setup here. Just as usual, Monday nights are always a little bit hectic. Although I do want to always keep the podcast on Mondays because for me, it's like the best time in the week to do this. Getting this setup ready right on time is always a little bit hectic. And at the same time, though, I like better hanging out with you guys for a few minutes while I get things set up than doing it all on my lonesome and then basically starting like 5-10 minutes later. It gives you guys time to get in here. It gives us time to set things up, make sure that everyone has a chance to get in here before we get into the real stories, the real meat of what we're going to be looking at. So let me just take here. We're about here. I'm like 3/4 of the way there, by the way. So we've only got like a 2-3 minutes extra. Then I'll have everything set up and we can really get this started. So at the same time, let me know in the chat how you guys are doing this week. How's your Monday treating you? Is it a good start to a week? Is it a rough start? I'll be honest, I found this week the startup was pretty rough. Like I worked 9 to 5, like most of the, and my 9 to 5 job today, it was rough. It was like one of those weeks where like you just want to stay in bed. But hopefully the week's going to end on a better note because we have Halloween coming up. We have at least 1 or 2 streams coming up. I didn't manage to stream Sonic X Shadow over the weekend, which I tried really hard to do yesterday, but things just didn't work out. I wasn't able to get everything done that I needed to get done. I also didn't want to break my promise to my daughter, which was to go see Venom 3 with her, which honestly is one of the main reasons why things got derailed in that way. Honestly, that was my Saturday to Sunday, and that's why like things got super derailed. Look, I'll give you guys like the scoop on it, what basically happened Saturday to Sunday. And just to let you know, the eSHOP deals video is the main reason everything got derailed. Like, on top of the Venom movie that I didn't want to break my promise, if it hadn't been a perfect cascade of shit, I actually pretty much would have most likely made it. But just to let you know, the eShop Deals video was actually finished at like 4:30 a.m. on the like Saturday to Sunday night. Okay. Now, if I go through basically the sequence of events that led to this. Last week, I wanted to play the new Call of Duty on PC. However, I'm most likely probably going to pick it up on PS5 because I think for me it's just going to be a better off scenario. I can bring the PS5 different rooms in the house more easily and play it wherever I want. Um, but ultimately, I wanted to set up my PC so that if I decided to pick up Call of Duty on the PC, I was good to go. So I decided to update all the drivers on my graphics card because it was required. Like, I didn't have the required driver to. Don't worry, the story is going somewhere to eShop deals. Don't worry. I wanted to update all the drivers to make sure that when the game comes out, I'm good to go. So I update all my drivers. Everything is looking good, whatnot. But I didn't actually record a video since updating the drivers on Thursday night. We did a stream, but I didn't record a video. And normally, to have a little bit of better performance out of my system, I normally use encoding through hardware, through my graphics card. Like, basically, encoding is like, to make it simple, like what actually translates your video into a format that the computer can read. Okay. And basically, so I hadn't recorded any video since updating my drivers on Thursday. So Saturday night comes around, and I record all my videos. And just so you know, the way I work normally when I do eShop deals is I record all the video and audio in one shot, and then I come back a little bit later and I edit it. I like sort of recording, taking like 45 minutes, an hour off, and coming back. So basically everything was recorded. I came back at like 11:30 at night, and I'm sitting down to get editing so that the video's done around like midnight, 1 o'clock, and I can go to bed, have a decent night's sleep because it's the weekend, get up around like 9, 10, and still get like my good 8 hours in. I come to start editing all the videos, and basically there's artifacting all over the video. Artifacting is like, it's like there's squares popping out in my face. I'm like blinking in and out of the frame, and I'm like, what the F is this? Now, if you know computer stuff, it's not always a simple answer. I didn't right away say, hey, this is related to the fact that I updated my drivers a couple of days ago. So first thing I'm thinking is there's a problem with the camera. So I reset the camera, I re-record like 30 seconds of test footage, and it's still artifacting like crazy. Now, just to sort of, if you're not at the point where I'm at, I already know all my footage is scrapped. So already I know I have to re-record every time you see my face in the video. It's not that bad because it's only about 25% of the video, but the problem is I have to get there, okay? So basically, I start resetting the camera. Nothing. So then I'm like, well, I have other cameras. Let's test with the other cameras, because resetting the camera isn't enough. There's maybe just a problem with it. So I record video on like any one of my other cameras. Same thing is happening. So I'm like, okay, it isn't the cameras. So then I'm like, okay, maybe it's OBS. Disinstall OBS, reinstall OBS. Record, same thing happening. Like, shoot me now. So I'm like, okay, next step, let's reinstall the drivers for the graphics card. So I deinstall the drivers, reinstall the drivers. Now, all this, just to let you know, between each one of these installs, you have to do a PC reset. So although these actions aren't hard, it's just time is flying. Like, we're talking like 12:30 in like, you know, like midnight, like half past midnight, 1 o'clock, and I'm still not even re-recorded the sections of the video that aren't working. So anyway, reinstall the drivers. Obviously, I'm reinstalling the latest drivers, and then basically I start recording again, and the same thing is happening. So each one of these steps individually, nothing's getting better. It's still artifacting like crazy. I'm like losing my mind because I'm like, it's 1 a.m. I need a video out on the weekend. And not even that, I'm just thinking long term. I'm like, if I can't record freaking video, what the heck am I going to do? I'm not going to buy a new computer just to like randomly. Okay, so basically so then I finally realized that I'm like, wait a sec. Last video I recorded was Wednesday. Everything was good. I've streamed since then, but I haven't recorded any video. But I did update my drivers. And then I look at when the last version of the drivers came out for AMD, which are about a week ago. And then I look at when the latest version of OBS came out, which is about a month ago. So I'm like, holy crap, it must be that OBS hasn't updated to the most recent drivers of AMD. And if I want to play Call of Duty, I need to have the latest versions of AMD. Either way, I don't really want to roll back my drivers on a graphics card for what OBS is probably going to patch out in about a week. So all I do is I basically flip from encoding through hardware to encoding through software, which basically pushes the load sort of to your CPU rather than your GPU for any like more technical people out there. And basically I record video and everything is good. Now, obviously, long term, I'm hoping to go back to my graphics card because the whole point of having a good graphics card when you're doing video editing is to be able to edit the video and encode video quicker. Okay, but basically, at least temporarily, I finally found a solution. But the problem is that I found the solution at like 1:30 a.m. I have to take about an hour, like at least half hour to 45 minutes to re-record the parts of the video that were effed. Then I had to start editing. So basically, I got the video done at like 4:30 in the morning. Like by the time it's posted and you know what I mean, like everything's up there because like, you know, there's a process. You make the video, you post it to YouTube, you wait to check so that there's no copyright crap. Then you have to put the title, you have to do the you know, like the SEO stuff and blah blah blah. So basically by the time all that was done, thumbnail was made, it was like 4:30 in the morning. So basically, I went to bed, and instead of getting up at like 8 or 9 like I would normally do on a Sunday, I got up at 11, which means that I could only go see Venom like at 3 in the afternoon with my daughter, which basically means that I got back and I had to make supper when I got back because I always make supper on the weekends, and my wife was already pissed that like I shit the schedule for Sunday. Which basically meant that like at 8 o'clock, I finally was able to like sit down and like actually take some chill time. So I was like, even though honestly streaming Sonic would have been chill time, at the same time, I was just tired. And I'm like, do I really want to do a stream when energy is going to be super low? I'll be playing the game, but I'd probably be like, you know, like, hey guys, we're going to play Sonic tonight. You know, I'm not in a super good mood, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, that was my shit story for the weekend. And the good news though, now as I can record, I can do everything good. And I'm waiting for the next version of OBS. OBS, if you see this anywhere, can someone please get a version that works with the latest AMD drivers? Because yeah. And if anyone is out there and they didn't know why your videos aren't encoding right anymore, well, maybe I helped someone out there. Okay, that's out of the way. Let's actually talk about real gaming news. I feel for you, Rick. I would have been breathing fire as soon as the second thing that went wrong. You're the best, Rick. Hang in there. Yeah, like, don't forget, I used to do, like, tech stuff, you know what I mean? So, like, that whole, like, troubleshooting crap and taking 3 hours, it's a shitty part of the deal, but you get so used to it. As soon as you build your own systems and stuff, like, you get so used to that crap, like, and it's always like that. So, okay, let's say hi to everyone in the chat that I can see for the moment. Hey, Nanaki. Hey, Frenchie Mom. Hey, Crashers. Hey, Andrew. Hey, Squirrel. Wild One. Welcome, my man. Neo Blitz. I think I said Frenchie Mom already. And we've got a $5 donation. Hey Rick, love the channel. The live streams are my favorite, followed by the reviews and eShop deals. Keep up the great work from Dast. Hey, thank you very much, man. Very appreciated. Very appreciated. That's awesome. Thank you so much, man. I'm glad you enjoy the videos. I'm glad you enjoy the channel. I'm trying to make it the best I can, and hopefully 2020, like 2024 has already brought some great stuff, and hopefully, we're getting there where I'm going to start talking about 2025. Hopefully I do have some plans for 2025 that I'm going to unveil eventually, and hopefully things are going to be even better. Okay, guys. So now that I've ranted, it's time to rant about some gaming stuff. I'm joking, but it's actually, we've got a lot of stories tonight, and we're gonna take them one by one. And to be honest, we're gonna end like on the story section. We're gonna end with the Nintendo Switch 2 stuff. I want to keep it for the end. Obviously, everyone was pointing to today to tomorrow or tomorrow for the Nintendo Switch 2. So unless Nintendo really does like some surprise unveil tomorrow morning and does the show directly, I think that is pretty much dead for today or tomorrow. Well, today's dead for sure, because like today's over in like an hour. But for tomorrow, I don't see it happening. Like, I wouldn't think this is the kind of thing that they're going to announce like 8 in the morning for 3 in the afternoon. I think they would give a 12-hour lead up for this stuff for Switch 2. And the worst is right now I'm actually checking the Nintendo channel to make sure I'm not talking out of my ass, because like honestly, I've been refreshing the Nintendo channel like all freaking day to make sure that like something doesn't come out. Missed a notification there. Sparking hope. Yeah, man. I really hope we get it on Switch 2. Like, I probably am going to get it when it gets on sale on PS5 if it doesn't. But for Sparking Zero, man, I really hope. But welcome back, Bear, for 39 months, man. Over 3 years now. That's amazing. Okay. Hey, Champ Dancer. Welcome, Rodrigo, as well. Welcome, guys. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to start with some little stories. I like getting this stuff out of the way. The first one is really almost like a PSA announcement. So give me just a sec here. Let's switch over to the main stream, get things set. There we go. So our first one is actually a translated tweet. Well, it's a tweet, but it's like officially translated. And this is like a PSA announcement because it's about a game that we actually haven't talked about a lot on the channel because it hasn't been discounted very often. And it sort of came out, and I'm not going to say I missed it, but I didn't really have time to talk about it specifically on the channel. And I'm almost disappointed that it hasn't been on sale more often. But basically, as of October 22nd, they're actually terminating the distribution of the mobile app version of Part-Time UFO on the Nintendo Switch. Now, if you guys don't know what Part-Time UFO is, it's like it's a awesome little. Actually, I'm going to pull up the trailer because that'll probably help. A lot of people are maybe like, we don't know what Part-Time UFO is. I'm going to pull up the trailer as we talk about this. I'm going to read through the message, then I'll show you guys the trailer so you know what game we're actually talking about as I give my thoughts. So as of October, they're terminating the mobile app version of Part-Time UFO. However, they specify that the Nintendo Switch version for the time will continue to be distributed, so please keep enjoying it. Now, the reason why this is like a PSA announcement is if they're discontinuing the mobile version, I'm like scared that the Switch version might get discontinued soon. And if you haven't played this game, I'm going to mute it, even though I'm going to unlock the desktop audio. We're going to mute this because I want to keep talking over it. The point is just so you guys know what game we're actually talking about. If you guys missed out on this game, it is a really, really fun little like almost strategy game, I would call it. Would probably be like arcade strategy would be the best categories I would say to describe this game. But if you missed out on it, it's actually a really, really fun game. And what that means is that next time it falls on sale on the Nintendo Switch eShop, I'm definitely going to try to put a big emphasis on it, because if you guys haven't had the chance, I definitely recommend picking it up as soon as possible. just in case it gets delisted on the Switch and you don't get a chance to replay it till it sort of get relaunched or something like that. I don't know if it's maybe that they have plans for the game or something. I just find it super odd that they're delisting the mobile app version, unless maybe it's just about they don't want to do maintenance on it. Now, I could be overthinking this as well, and it could be a simple. Hold on, my camera's like at the right or wrong angle. There we go. Okay, I could be overthinking this one, and it could be just that they don't want to keep maintaining the game for future like versions of iOS and Android. Because don't forget that when iOS and Android come out with new versions of their of the software of their like platform, a lot of games need to be updated because a lot of things sometimes break in the game, or just maintenance updates to work with the newest version. So maybe they're not selling enough of it for it to be worth the maintenance. So I could be like overthinking this as well. But just in case, nonetheless, the next time that it goes on sale, I most likely will try to put a slightly bigger focus on it in the video, because it is one of those games that if you have not played it and you can pick it up on sale at a really nice price, it is definitely an extremely fun game to play. It has multiplayer support as well, so it's a great game to play with like a friend. Definitely one of those games that like, if you haven't had a chance, it's definitely worth everyone trying it out. It's like almost like a Parappa the Rapper situation where the vibe of the game goes beyond the game itself. And it's just really, really fun. It is called Time UFO. Time UFO. By the way, all the links to the stories are going to be down below in the description. So by the way, if you guys want to check it out after, I have links to the different tweets, the different, everything you pretty much see during the show, you can find the links to after, especially if I'm using articles or videos from other people. They will be linked down below. And if you want to drop a like, not only on the stream if you haven't already, but on the videos that you particularly appreciate, that is always something that I strongly recommend you do. So, Part-Time UFO, make sure you pick it up when you get a chance. It might be disappearing. It's disappearing for mobile devices. It might be eventually disappear from the Switch. It's already a cheap game, exactly. It's normally like $9 either way, so it's not an expensive game. However, it's already been on sale for slightly less than that. Okay. Next, let's move on to our next one because we don't need to dwell on that way too long. Next, we got a really nice update for a game that will be in next week's list of new Switch games, but still, this game was so high on my anticipated games list when it was first announced that I was really excited to finally get a solid release date on. And that is Metal Slug Tactics. So if you guys did not see this cross your feed over the last week, Metal Slug Tactics is actually officially releasing on November 5th. But let's rewatch the trailer together, and now the audio's unlocked, so we're gonna have audio for this one. We're gonna watch the trailer, and then I will give my thoughts. Now, I am worried that the game got delayed so much that it could release with maybe some bugs or stuff, but still, I'm a huge fan of strategy tactical games, especially when they're using like really amazing IPs that almost feel like a crossover with a new genre. So let's take a look. And I find Metal Slug really lends itself well to the genre. Just because they have a lot of characters, they have a lot of lore behind them, so it like sort of fits in. Boom, baby. There we got it. November 5th. I am super, super hyped about this one. Like, I don't know if you guys know, but one of my all-time favorite PS1 games is Final Fantasy Tactics. Now, obviously, this isn't Final Fantasy, but I am getting that type of vibe from it. Like how it just looks like pure strategy game without going. I think sometimes tactical strategy games they go a little overboard with the mechanics. Like I like that there's deep mechanics that offer strategic options, but I don't want so many options that it feels like all I'm doing is measuring layers of options one on top of another. You know what I mean? Like I find there's a delicate balance that like the classic games get right that offers you a lot of choice without it feeling like you're overwhelmed at every second with like you're missing out on stuff. And like if I point to a couple of games I find that get their balance like excellent in that way, Final Fantasy Tactics, um, Tactics Ogre. Even though Tactics Ogre is limit because it sometimes gets so deep. Um, the Disgaea series, the good Disgaea series, like Disgaea 1, 2, 3, and like 6. Like, because 4 and 5 I found started getting a little too like muddied with that stuff. What is the price? That is a good question. I didn't think of checking that out because I didn't care. No, I'm joking. I know you guys like it's always an important part, but like they could honestly sell me the game for $60 and I'd probably pay it. It's $24.99. $24.99, which honestly for a recognized IP makes sense. Okay. It's high grade indie. You know what I mean? Like, and I could even argue that it's not totally indie in the sense that the Metal Slug IP isn't necessarily a indie IP in my opinion because it's a classic IP, but it's definitely being done by an indie studio. But $24.99 feels like a good price. Like, let's be honest, there's games like, Outright Games and stuff like that. They go way heavier on IPs. They try to sell games for $40 that have what looks like way weaker gameplay than this. Now, I haven't played the game yet, so I can't promise yet that the gameplay is going to deliver, but the positive thing is, rather than releasing a game in a bad state, they took the extra time they needed. I just hope that right now the game is perfectly finished and it comes out in a good state. We're not going to have to wait long because next week we're going to be figuring this out. So, yeah, honestly, I am super excited for this. When they first announced it, I was like extremely excited. We had to wait almost an extra 2 years to get the game, but it is finally here and hopefully it's going to be worth it. So, Metal Slug release date, another one of my big reveals for last week. Okay, we've got that out of the way. Next, let's talk about another game that was announced last week. Another game that I never thought we would re-see a version of it. But it is one of those beloved games from the PS1 once again that I'm super happy is getting a remake. And I'm actually more hyped about this game than I thought I would be. Like when I first heard it, I was like, okay. But the more I look into the trailers, the more I hear the team talking about it on Twitter because I follow Argonaut Games on Twitter since the announcement. And sometimes you can feel that a team is hyped about something and that they care about a franchise, and it feels like they care about this franchise. You can never know the truth of something because it can just be really good marketing, but they're selling me that they really care about the franchise. But that is Croc, Legend of the Gobbos. Now, Croc was like one of a extremely early 3D platformer on the PS1. It controlled like pure garbage, but back then, it just sort of set the stage nonetheless for 3D platformers on the PS1. But there's Croc 1, 2, and 3. I think there's 3. I remember 3. If there's more than 3, I stopped like playing the series after the third one. The biggest problem with Croc 1 on the PS1 and even the follow-ups is that they had tank controls. The character, you controlled him like Resident Evil 1 with tank controls. Like you had to turn with the D-pad, face in a direction, and then go forward. Which, as we know today, right now, is totally awful for 3D platformers. It just doesn't give a good gameplay experience. The good news, however, is that the team reworked the controls to work like modern 3D platformers. So the biggest issue about the game is most likely going to be fixed. Let's look at the launch trailer for the game, and then we'll talk about it some more. Yeah, you're right. And I do think they were aiming at a Yoshi feeling character. Obviously, the graphics have been completely redone. Like, is this the best looking game I've ever seen? No, but if you saw the original, like, this is a different world. No, they're nowhere as good as Yooka-Laylee. You're right. But I still think that they did a decent job. I'm gonna say, however, if they went too perfect with the graphics, I actually think it would have been a slight detriment. Okay, just because I think a slight jankiness to the graphics feels like it fits with Croc. Like if you remember the game back then, like if you were playing Mario 64, Croc did look like a cheap rip-off version of like the Mario 64 concept. You know what I mean? Now, I'll be honest, I'm super excited to play this game from a nostalgic perspective because I played the original. Now, do I think that a lot of people that have never played Croc before are going to play this game and say like it's amazing? I don't think so. This is where I'm like torn with this announcement, because the nostalgia factor I think is going to be high, but the gameplay, from what I can see, they fixed the controls, but it seems so honest to the original that it could be actually a slight detriment, because collectathon games nowadays, if they don't have some kind of special thing to like get you hooked, the gameplay here might be a little too simple. Okay, because they seem to reproduce the actual Croc gameplay one for one, although with better controls, better graphics, and everything. But at the same time, like I said, the nostalgia factor is going to be there. Where I think they're going to have a problem is getting new gamers into this that aren't specifically looking for a retro experience. The original Croc, I would not say it is a good platformer because the controls are awful. It is just it's a extreme nostalgic inducing platformer. Like the people that had Croc and love it to death. And even though today going back and playing it feels like trash, you still just love the fact of the how the game was back then. But other than that, like, I do think nonetheless it's still gonna be worth picking up for people who played the original. I'm really hoping the team goes. I hope it sells well because they do want to eventually do Croc 2 and 3, but they're specifically saying it all depends on how Croc 1 sells if they can do the next game. So that pretty much means, like, if they don't make money on Croc 1, we're never going to see Croc 2, we're never going to see Croc 3. But look, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I want first this game to come out. I want to play it. I want to see if it's good. And we're supposed to be getting it soon. So it's coming soon. Part of me hopes it actually misses out on 2024 and comes out like in I think a January release or February release. You know, when the gaming landscape is empty, I think Croc could come in at a decent, like, let's say they sell it at around $20. I think it could come in and actually fill the gap of those dead, like, post-holiday months. So either way, still was super excited for this announcement. I'm timid because it's one of those franchises that I never thought would come back, just because the gameplay is going to have a trouble standing up to today's standard. It's going to feel sort of like a weaker version of Spyro 1. Okay? And even Spyro 1, I play it and it's a good game. However, I see how extremely simple it is, and, like, to be honest, I don't see I'll play Spyro 3 multiple times, but Spyro 1, when I replayed it the remade version once, I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm not going to replay it 4 or 5 times because it's fun, but the gameplay today, like, you need that extra little oomph that the second and third one sort of put in, the third one more specifically. But yeah, so Croc, Legend of the Gobbos, coming very soon. Next, we're getting to, we're going to look at a story that covered by Nintendo Life. And that is the fact that Animal Crossing Pocket Camp Complete is actually coming on mobile devices this December, but it also means that people that have the current version of Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, it's important you know that the game will go offline on pretty soon, on November 24th, if I'm not mistaken. November 24th or end of November of this year. However, all your progress and all your stuff will carry over to the new version of Animal Crossing Pocket Camp that's called Animal Crossing Pocket Camp Complete. Oh, it's the 28th of November. Sorry. 28th of November, the online service will end for the current version of Pocket Camp. However, they're changing the format. The current Pocket Camp, you had a subscription service with it. The new Pocket Camp is just going to be a one-time purchase deal, which, I'll be honest, in the long run is going to make way more sense and feels way better for a Nintendo format game. The good news, too, is that it'll be discounted till January 31st. So for anyone who has the current version of the game and wants to upgrade, it'll be $9.99 or $8.99 for euros. Which is half price compared to what it'll be after January 31st of 2025, which is $19.99 or 17 euros and 99. 17 euros 99. I'm not sure how you call your cents over there. I know it's not cents, but I can't remember. Honestly, I think this is a good move. There also is going to be continued events just like there are in the current app. So Nintendo does want to continue supporting the new app. I do like the one-time purchase version way better than the monthly subscription. And apparently there's going to be no longer in-game purchases. Another positive thing, honestly, I'm glad that Nintendo seems to be moving away from the live service type of event. And although I don't think it's going to be completely dead on Nintendo's end, I think they took a step back, because if you look for a while there, Nintendo was trying a lot of live service events back to back to back. The Pokemon Arena game that I'm trying to remember, the Pokemon MOBA, they were trying different versions of it, and they seem to have been taking a step back. I think they saw how other companies were going down that rabbit hole and just like losing their customers' trust in the games. And I think they're just going to, I don't think they're going to completely end live services. I just think they're going to really dose it very carefully, which I'm glad. And look, they're even shifting this model over to a one-time purchase, which is very, very good in my opinion in the end. But it's good for anyone who has the current version. Let's say you haven't logged in a while and you do want to eventually come back to it. Definitely pick up the new version of the game before January 31st. You get it 50% off. I mean, like, what the heck? I never got into it either. So I'll be honest with you. That's why I'm going to keep this at a bare minimum, because I downloaded it, tried it. I really didn't get into it. I think I stopped after like 2 or 3 days. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm just going to stay with normal Animal Crossing, and I'll wait till the next version of Animal Crossing comes out to like really get back into it like 100%. I got back into it a couple of months back. I got really hardcore into it for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I put it aside again. Like, I'm that kind of Animal Crossing player. I'm not going to play continuously for like 3 years. I need to move on to other things eventually. I get to that point where I'm like, okay, I've done enough in the game. I've got all the fossils. I've got all the hybrid flowers. I'm good. I don't need every bit of furniture. I don't need all that stuff. It's not me. But I did want to at least highlight this because I do think it's going to be important for people who are playing the game. And especially, like I said, once again, let's just imagine you haven't logged into the game for a couple of months and you find out that you missed out on a 50% discount option and your app doesn't work anymore. I'd be pissed off. So once again, this is more like a public service announcement storyline, but it's pretty much going to continue the same type of app, just in a different payment format. So, got that one out of the way. Now, we're going to jump into our last story before we start talking Nintendo Switch 2. And this is actually 2 stories in one. Because number one, I was actually super pissed at the beginning of the week when the first part of the story came out. And it is something that I want to talk about, not because I want each of us to feel responsible for it, but I do think that we're in a time where we talk a lot about wanting good games and supporting good games. And it really feels bad to me when a really good game comes out and it doesn't get supported. And one of those games we played on stream at the beginning of last year. And I remember on stream asking people to buy the game. And like I said, I don't want you guys to individually, anyone here, feel responsible for it. But it's just, like, I shat on Ubisoft a lot lately. But one of the best games they came out with over the last couple of years, yes, is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. And it was a great relaunch of the series. Did they try to sell it a little bit too expensive? Yes, they probably did. But the game got discounted very quickly. Like within a month or two, the game got discounted. And people still didn't buy it. And this is a game, just to let you know, that I personally would have given like an 8.5 to 9 out of 10. And on average is scoring close to 9 out of 10 as an average. Yeah, the problem is they tried to sell it, I think, for $40 at the beginning, and then you had the early launch edition that was like $60. So that's where they effed up a bit, because it is a 2D Metroidvania, and people in their mind did did like place it did place it as a lower valued game. And although they tried to do a like sort of budget type release, I think it didn't feel budget enough for some people. But it is an extremely fun game, and it is one of the best relaunches Ubisoft has done in a long time. Okay? Now, don't worry, the story is going to have a positive twist towards the end here, but I'm just sort of giving the message that a lot of people are asking for relaunches of classic franchises, like the next one we're going to talk about, like Prince of Persia. People had been asking for the series to be relaunched in a good way. And I get it that a lot of people probably wanted a 3D version of the game, but the fact that a lot of people didn't even give the 2D version a chance, I think they hurt themselves and they hurt the franchise as a whole. Because just to let you know, the story that happened is that the Prince of Persia team, the ones that made the Lost Crown, the team has now been disbanded, and they scrapped the sequel. So the game was supposed to have a sequel. We were supposed to get a second game in the same style in the same series, and it's officially, at least for the moment, been scrapped. What that means is they are not planning in any way to have a direct sequel to the game, and they're going to revisit the franchise in the future. Now, they do have like a remake of Sands of Time in the work. They have other stuff in the franchise, but I do think the 2D Prince of Persia franchise could have been a long-standing one with a lot of good entries, with some awesome ideas that they could have built on from the first one. And we are now going to lose out on that. And it's okay. I mean, we're going to get a bunch of other games. Like, this isn't the end of the world. We're still going to get some great Metroidvanias. We're still going to get some great other games. But it was just a little sad that that game didn't get out the door stronger than that, because it was an excellent relaunch of a classic franchise done with quality, with original ideas, and with gameplay that I could see evolving. My biggest problem with the gameplay, and I talked about it when we in Prince of Persia, is although the counterattack mechanic was fun, they relied too heavily on it towards the end of the game, where each and every enemy you had to sort of counterattack to beat, and you ended up waiting for enemies to attack you like too often, and you couldn't get like the flow of the gameplay got broken a little bit because of that towards the end of the game, where I found that the game was funner in the beginning and for some things like that, and in the end, because the enemies, they were trying to make the patterns too complex, but they were making everything depend on that counterattack move. So, okay, so that was the sad part of the announcement. However, we did get a sort of sunny side up the next day, because one of the most classic franchises that Ubisoft does have apparently is now being explored for a possible new sequel. And this is another one we talked about over and over. And the reason I started with that sort of negative twist on it wasn't only to talk about it, but it's to sort of like give a message out there that I've been hearing a lot of, like, I myself have been asking for a Rayman remake for a long time, or a remake, a Rayman sequel, or like continuation of the franchise. But a lot of people have also, I've heard online the discourse often where's Rayman? Rayman's a great franchise. I don't want the same thing to happen to to Rayman that happened to Prince of Persia. That is where I'm sort of going with this. So what's really fun is, and apparently parts of the team from The Lost Crown have been reaffected to this exploration phase of Rayman. Now, exploration means that they're probably brainstorming ideas, see what can work, what can't work. Rayman Legends is amazing on the Switch. It's an amazing 2D platformer. If you haven't played it, when that game falls to $7.99 like it often does on sale, it is you are getting a super hype quality 2D platformer for an amazing price. But basically, the message here is I am super hyped with this, but if they do give us a quality game, people, we have to buy it because we're asking for it, and especially with Ubisoft, let's show them the franchises and let's show them the investments that are worth it. Like, I'm sorry, like, if they put out a slop Assassin's Creed game, but it still sells, and then they put out a quality Prince of Persia 2 Thrones game, and it doesn't sell, what do you think we're going to get in the future? We're going to get more slop. Do you understand what I mean? And I'm hoping still that Assassin's Creed comes out and it's great, because we've been waiting forever for them to go to Japan. They made a bunch of mistakes, but look, it is what it is. We're here. Let's hope that the gameplay is good. I have doubts, but let's hope. But the point is that if they do come out with something Rayman and the game turns out to be quality, check out the reviews. And if it is quality, let's support it. Okay? And I'm not saying buy games you don't want. If you're not into the genre, who cares? But if you are, and if you've been saying, hey, I want a Rayman remake, like, put your money where your mouth is and let's pick it up. Okay? That's all I'm saying. We're going to end it on that, because I don't want it to sound like I'm saying buy games you guys don't want. You guys already buy tons of games probably because of eShop deals if you're here. But if it is a game that is worth it, it is worth buying. Like I've told you guys before, and this is my perspective, and obviously I run a Switch channel. It's a different perspective than the average gamer out there. But when I get a review code to an excellent game, I often buy a physical version if it comes out, even though I already have like a free download code for the game, because I want to show the developer that, like, this is the game I want. And even though I got a review code for it, I'm even going to buy the game. Like, I do that for a lot of Devolver Digital stuff. I do that for, yeah. But either way, there we have it. A sad story with sort of a little bit of ray of sunshine at the end. I'm still really bummed, though, that we're never going to get a sequel to the 2 Thrones, at least not for the moment. And we have a $5 from Frenchy Mom. We buy games because your streams and eShop deals. I'm really, like, I hope at least you guys love those games that you're buying. So as long as you guys enjoy the games, you know what? I am more than happy that you're buying them. Yeah, I bought Wallachia because of you. Awesome. Wallachia is a really fun action game. Hard as heck, but really fun. Okay, so we are done with our. I'm pretty sure you got it. Yeah, Wallachia feels like that's the way you're supposed to spell it too. Okay, so we're pretty much done with our small stories. We're going to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 rumors, but once again, I don't think we're going to spend like an hour on them, because look, it's a recurrent theme. We're doing a Nintendo Switch story stream. We're going to talk about Nintendo Switch 2 on a regular basis. This is the place to talk about it. And we're going to start, because this pretty much, I think, started some of the craziness, was the Yooka Replaylee trailer. Now, by the way, this is a great remake that I'm super happy is happening. The current ukulele, by the way, is super fun, plays well. I do agree it could get better, and I'm really looking forward to see the refinements that they made in this one. But this set off, we're going to watch the trailer, because the end of this trailer is what I think set off, once again, the insane Nintendo Switch 2 rumors. At the same time, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm not sure this is as big of a deal as people are saying, and I'll explain to you why. But let's watch the trailer. It's worth it because it's a super fun game, but we're specifically looking for the end of the trailer, and we're all going to look at the same time to see the bit of news. And I'm actually going to, hold on. I'm actually going to move my camera before we get started, because I'm not sure exactly where it appears on the screen, but I know it's not in the top corner. So we're going to watch the trailer like this, and okay, we're going to leave at 760. So if you guys don't know, ukulele is the sort of platonic take on Banjo-Kazooie. It's also developed by some of the developers that developed the original Banjo-Kazooie. So they did, like a lot of the developers, at least for the original game, I don't know if it's the exact same team for this remake, but the original game was developed by a lot of the same developers. And this is the remake, Yooka Replaylee, which is the remake of the first game. Because they're remaking it again. And they're calling it Yooka Replaylee, so instead of just ukulele. Now, here is what made everyone go crazy. Can you guys see on the screen why people started going crazy for this trailer? Yankees on their last 3 outs, down 4-0. That is too bad. That is too bad. But can anyone see on the screen right now why people got crazy about this trailer when it came out here? It's on the screen right now. Maybe I should mouse over it. Right here. When you see at which consoles the game is coming out for, it says Xbox Series X and S, PS5, PC, and rather than the Switch symbol, it just says Nintendo. And obviously, what this means is that they're pointing to the fact that it's most likely not launching on the Switch, but it's launching on the Switch successor. But since they can't officially use the Switch successor logo, because Nintendo hasn't released it yet, guess what? They have to show just the general Nintendo logo. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I do think they did this for marketing purposes. Because right now, if you have a game that you want to make sure gets a ton of publicity with very little effort, all you have to do is say that it's coming out on the Switch 2 and your game skyrockets. Like an indie company did that a little while back, saying that they were targeting this Nintendo's next-gen system, and their like little indie game, for a week, everyone was talking about it. Well, we're going to talk about that Canadian chick, but like I said, we're going to talk about the other rumor, the other part of the rumors, but this at the beginning of last week was making people go insane. They're like, the first official Nintendo Switch 2 game, woo! When I think we've seen a lot of official Nintendo Switch 2 games, they just put no logos on the trailers yet. For example, Monster Hunter Wilds, I think there's going to be a Nintendo Switch 2 version. And that game we've known about for a while. They just haven't put anything in the trailers yet. There's rumors that Elden Ring is going to have a port to the Nintendo Switch 2, by the way, done by a specific porting team. So it's not From Software is not going to do it themselves, but a pretty reputable porting team is going to be doing an Elden Ring version for the Nintendo Switch 2. Like, there's a ton of games that are out right now that most likely are already slated for Nintendo Switch 2. They just haven't done these type of tactics yet on their trailers because they don't really need to. Yeah, Elden Ring is getting a complete edition, and what I heard is that there's going to be a port of the complete edition on the Switch, apparently. So we're going to be getting a release of the complete edition. Honestly, just the fact that I hope that some of the Switch current games run amazing on the Switch 2. Can you imagine if just Witcher 3, the version we have now, runs like better on Switch 2? It's already going to be amazing. I don't think Elden Ring's going to be a struggle. Elden Ring's actually not that tough of a game to run. Okay? But anyway, so this got people talking. And then following that, we got two other bits of information. So, first of all, what happened today, or yesterday, more likely, is that Pyoro, the very famous Nintendo leaker that was extremely reliable, his account is still locked, okay? Because I don't want to get into I don't want to rehash the whole story, but he unfortunately outed his source involuntarily, which probably got someone fired at Nintendo, okay? Or the company that updates the eShop backend, he probably got someone into serious trouble by outing his source involuntarily. So he locked down his account when that happened, and he changed the name from Pyoro. But this is his old account. And the thing is that yesterday he switched the logo of his account to the Nintendo Alarmo. And he did and he changed his name to just the side eyes emoji, which a lot of people are pointing to the fact that he's saying, be on the lookout, because, you know, the alarm is going off. The alarm is going off means like the Switch 2 is coming. So a lot of people are pointing to this week to be the time that the Switch 2 is going to be released. Now, there is some other information here that also we're going to look at. But this got a lot of people talking. So if you're hearing rumors that the Switch 2 is coming out this week, it is among it for this. And the second thing is that PH Brazil also, and by the way, this clip is going to be linked if you do want to watch it. And do I have the proper CC on it? Hold on. Let's auto-translate to English. I'm going to play it in the background, but you guys can watch it on your own if you want to, like, because it's auto-translated. But basically, PH Brazil, this is a 1-minute clip. He's basically saying that, in his opinion, he believed that the Switch 2 is also launching this week at the same time during one of his streams. PH Brazil is a Brazilian journalist that covers Nintendo stuff, and he's also had a pretty good track record of being very good on his predictions. The only thing I want to point out is that he does specify during this video that his predictions are not based on insider knowledge, but rather analyzing key events and key timings and when he thinks it's going to happen. And I do agree with one of his assessments that if Nintendo is going to announce this system, there's a very, very high likelihood that this week would be a good strategic week to do it. Now, the reason why, and I've talked about this before, I know everyone wants to believe that the primary person that Nintendo aims to please is gamers. And they do. But the reason they primarily aim to please gamers is to please the investors investing in Nintendo and to sell their products. So the true people that Nintendo needs to impress and answer to are investors. And right now, even investors are very, very... They want to know what's next. Even investors in the company, before dishing out more money or knowing that they're going to get good returns and deciding to leave their money in Nintendo, they want to know what's up. They want to know what's coming. But obviously, being a publicly traded company, you can't inform investors of this without it becoming public knowledge. And they have a mid-year report coming up on November 5th. which is next week, exactly next Monday. Next Tuesday. My bad. Next Tuesday. Now, why is this important? Because if you want to get your investors hyped and be able to talk Switch 2 and get and honestly take a lot of heat off of the heads of the organization, the best they could do is probably announce the Switch 2 this week. And you're going to probably hype a lot of investors, and you're not going to hurt the bottom line of your holiday season that much, in my opinion. Especially if this Switch has a release period of, let's say, March of 2025. Announcing the thing now, but coming out in March 2025 is most likely not going to hurt the bottom line of your holiday season. Because there's enough of a separation where people are not going to not buy Christmas gifts because the Switch 2 is coming out in March. If the Switch 2 was coming out in January, then you'd see people not buying Christmas gifts and saying hey, we'll give you money, buy the Switch when it comes out. But if it's in March, I do think that they could safely announce the Switch this week, hurt their bottom line for the holiday season very little, and actually increase their stock prices for investors to finish off the year strong. Because a lot of people are saying that Nintendo is not going to hit their predictions for Switch sales. There's a lot of indicators saying that Nintendo is unfortunately going to have to lower their forecast. Which, if they lower their forecast without having a hype element to have investors say, look, we didn't do so good this year, but don't worry, this is coming. It's going to be a rough investors meeting for Nintendo. It's going to be a really rough investors meeting for Nintendo. And honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if their share price wouldn't take a shot from it. Recoverable shot, but it would take a shot. So that's pretty much what PH Brazil is pointing to here in this clip. And like I said, it'll be linked down below. You can check it out yourself after this. But that is why there are so many strong rumors, because it's not only is a known leaker pointing to it, it sort of makes perfect fiscal sense right now. Dodgers win. Woo, I guess. But my team's New York, but I mean, I love the Dodgers too, so I'm sort of split. The only team that I would be not split with those two teams would be if one of them's playing the Blue Jays, then I'm going to take for the Blue Jays. But other than that, yeah, the Expos, my Expos, I love, honestly, we need the Expos back. You guys don't know, but I wear the hat often. A lot of people probably don't know this, because if you don't know, before 2000s baseball, this is the Montreal baseball team that no longer exists, the Expos. And I still wear an Expos hat on a regular basis, because I really hope baseball comes back to Montreal. I hate having to drive 6 hours to see a baseball game. It's annoying as shit, man, to have to drive 6 hours to see a baseball game. Actually, I think Boston's a shorter drive than Toronto. I'd have to calculate it, but I think I'd save an hour by going to Boston instead of Toronto. But anyway. So that was pretty much the Switch 2 news for this week. Honestly, there's not much I can add to this discussion other than saying I agree it would make good fiscal sense for them to announce it this week and without hurting their bottom line for the holiday season. But Nintendo's gonna Nintendo, you know what I mean? And if they plan on saying, no, we want to squeeze every dollar possible out of this holiday season, and we're only going to announce the thing in January, that's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do. But I just think that it would be better. And we're saying March just because people are like March, but that thing could it could launch at the end of next year. I don't think that's a good move for them. I really, really, really don't think it's going to be a good move for them to do that. But it could be launching end of next year. But like I said, I'm thinking that when they said that there are some games that need to work on, I think Pokemon is one of those games that is holding them up. And I think Metroid Prime 4 is one of those games holding them up, where they want those games good, ready to go on the launch. Like apparently the hardware is already good to go. Yeah, their fiscal year ends in March, and how their holiday season goes could also be a deciding factor on when the console is going to launch. So I could actually see them announcing the system for early 2025 without specifying an exact date. I could see them like doing a reveal trailer where we get an idea what the system is, what the major like elements about it are going to be, but the trailer actually ending with early 2025, where they're going to adjust whether it's March or April depending on the Switch sales for the end of the year. Well, I'm getting Brothership and I'm playing it all day on launch day because I'm off for launch day on November 7th because it's also my birthday. So if you guys don't have my birthday gift ready yet, you guys still got a week to get ready, a week and 2 days to get ready for my birthday gift. Okay? A week and like 3 days actually. Or like no, 2 weeks. No, a week and 3 days. Yeah, it's next week. Like I'm like, what the heck? How's my math not working tonight? My brain is like still on slow mode. But I'm expecting birthday wishes from everyone next Thursday, and if not, we're gonna have words. How old will I be? 26. 26 is how old I'll be. Exactly. Honestly, every year, my birthday is filled with good games. It's not 44 either. Told you guys, 26. Yeah, no, I'm joking. You guys don't need to have a gift. By the way, I'm one, like, I don't want you guys to think you really need to have a gift. It's 100% like I'm just joking around. You're gonna buy me a new controller. I need a new Pro 2. Actually, like in the end, like the D-pad isn't 1,000,000%, but it's still better than my Pro Plus because my Pro Plus the back trigger doesn't work anymore. You can tell which controllers I use the most because the only two that have buttons that like have stopped working are my Pro Plus and my Pro 2. While all my Nintendo Switch Pro controllers so maybe it's two because I have too many Pro controllers. I have like 4 Pro controllers, like standard Nintendo Pro controllers, because I have the different editions. Like I have the Splatoon, I have the Zelda, I have a standard one somewhere because I always want a standard one, and I can't find the one that I reshelled. I can't find my reshelled controller. I've been looking for it for 2 months now, and now my basement is clean. Like my studio's cleaned up, so it's actually lost. I don't know where it is. I'm actually like really sad. But yeah, I want the Pro 2, the blue Pro 2. Hold on. This is the controller I want. This is the next controller I get. I want the blue see-through Pro 2 with Hall effects. Look, give me a second. Do Pro 2. This one exactly. But I'm gonna buy it. Like I'm gonna buy it probably. I'm actually gonna probably buy it after my birthday. Like people are good. Like family members are gonna be giving me money and stuff. So most likely, we're gonna Pro 2 blue. Oh yeah. Yes, I would consider it. I just have no idea how I could do it because the last time I did my physical Switch game collection, okay, I was about at somewhere around 200 games, and I'm now closing in on 400 games. So I'm like I'm actually scared of doing the update because I didn't do them regular enough. Like just so you guys get a rough idea, like you see like this bookcase here, Do you see this bookcase? Okay. Now hold on. This bookcase only has like 1.5 row of Switch games. But then I have this little bookcase full of Switch games. Okay. And just to give you an idea, I have another bookcase exactly this size that is completely filled with Switch games, but I've actually had to double up the rows. So I have all the Switch, it's filled with Switch games, but double, like I have 2 rows, one in front of the other. And then I still have piles of Switch games. Like, and that's why. How long have I been muted? I will. I'll do it. I'll find a way to do it. It's just like it's gonna be a very, very overviewed like Switch collection. And the biggest problem is I don't want to have to go and rewatch my first review, my last update to see which games I already. Do you understand what I mean? It's like I can't divide the part that you guys have already seen from the part that you guys have not seen, because all the games got mixed up over time. I would have had to keep all the new games I was getting completely segregated from the games I already showed on camera, so that when we did the update, I would know which games you guys have already seen and which games you haven't seen. So what I'm most likely gonna do is but it was probably just a second. I probably realized it very quick. But basically, I'm probably going to have to do a full overview of the collection, so show everything, but just very quickly. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to talk like, oh, I like this game because of this. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to select I'm going to select some games that I'm going to be like, these are my favorite physical Switch games, like the games that I'm happiest to have physically, which are probably all going to be indie games for the most part, just to be honest. I have an Excel sheet. With all my games, by the way. I had to make an Excel sheet because I was buying games twice by mistake. I wouldn't remember if games, because I shop for games so often that I wouldn't remember if I shopped for the game but never bought it, or if I shopped for the game and bought it. So I wound up buying twice multiple games. Like, I have a little pile of games there, like 4 or 5 games left, because I gave them away, the ones that I had doubles. But I have 4 or 5 games left that I have 2 copies of, because by mistake I bought them twice. Because I would find them on sale somewhere, like at a really, really good price, and I would pick it up. I would get home and I'm like, oh crap, I already have it. Yeah, exactly. And not only that, is that one day if I do sell my collection, it's going to be excellent, because I can just send the Excel sheet to a shop and be like, give me a price. And I'm not sure I would do just that. I might like liquidate some of the more expensive games like one by one, and then sort of do a bulk thing for the rest. But it is a possibility that I'll sell my Switch collection one day. Just because it's so much money laying around, it's like insane. But I would never sell some games. That's why I said I want to make a list of like my favorite games. So like out of the 400 games, there's at least like 50 that I probably would still keep. You know what I mean? Like, and just get rid of the games that like, especially games that get reissued after that. Like if games start getting remakes or better versions on like Switch 2, I'm probably going to look at selling the Switch 1 versions. And that really depends too if the Switch 2 has the same format. Because if the Switch 2 has the same format, then it's more likely that I would sell the Switch 1s. Okay, guys, what we're going to do, I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. Like 2 minutes, and then we're gonna start the new Switch games for this week, because we're done all our stories and we've chatted a while. It's fun because this week the new Switch games are actually a lot lighter, so I didn't need to like sort of rush through the stories and get things done. We've got just give a precursor. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games to look at, which is insanely short compared to last week's like 24 games or something like that. So, quick bathroom break, and I'll be right back. We back. And I actually brought some munchies. I brought some pretzels. Like I don't think I've ever really eaten snacks on stream. Like I've eaten food before because I've like taken meals, but I don't think I've ever brought snacks yet. But tonight it's snack time. I have like I have some munchies, and I want to go to bed after, so I want to eat while we're doing this. Now, I know the noise is probably going to be freaking awful, so I'm going to try to not eat too much of them, but still, I'm going to take some munchie breaks. Leftover pozole. Yeah, that's what I mean. I ate a meal before, but I haven't eaten like snacks. Like, by the way, for the birthday stream, I'm gonna eat on stream because I want to do like a full day of streaming. I'm gonna try to not take a break, like a stream break. So it's most likely gonna be like 8 hours straight, or 7 hours straight. And I'm most likely going to eat lunch, like, on stream. I'm going to order something, or I'm going to try to bribe my wife, since it's my birthday, to, like, bring me food. I don't know, maybe she can come eat on stream with us. I'm going to try. I've been trying to convince, I want to convince her to maybe come on the stream and eat on the stream with us. So it's all good. Okay. Snacks have been eaten. It's time for new Switch games. Okay. Bonne nuit. No, she speaks English too. She has a heavy accent, but she speaks English pretty good, pretty good. Je t'entends pas là, j'ai mes écouteurs. Ouais, c'est bon. One of my daughters is still up, and she was talking to me off to the side. Married at 26, exactly. 26, married, multiple kids, the whole shebang. Okay, let's get to the new Switch game. So, just so I can do a little division in the video, hey guys, it's time to look at this week's new Nintendo Switch games. So, just quick warning, if ever any of the trailers are muted, start that over. Hey everyone, welcome back. We're going to take a look at today's new Nintendo Switch games coming out for this week. And by the way, if any of the trailers are muted while we're watching them, that's simply because they got copyrighted, and basically I just had to mute the music in the trailer. However, they will all be linked down below, so if you do want to check out the full version of the trailer with the music and all, you can always do so in the links down below. Now, this week, we have a pretty interesting list of new Nintendo Switch games. And the good news is, it's not as crazy long as last week's. There's also, I would say, no major game releases this week. That is going to be reserved for the first week of November. Now, we are dipping our toes into November on this list, but I'm talking about really the first full week of November is going to have some big releases. But I still think there are a ton of interesting games for this week. And we're going to start by taking a look at our first game for this week. Releasing on, hold on here, gotta get this out of the way. Our first game is releasing on October 28th, so it's already out today as we're recording this. And it is Vengeance Hunters. Now, I do have a few reservations about this game, so I would still recommend waiting for a review. But it is a 2D beat 'em up. And visually, I am super interested by this game. Basically, we're going to take a look at the trailer because the little blurb down below really doesn't tell us much about the game. It only says Vengeance Hunters has an old school look and flair, while also using newer gameplay design methodology. Expect hard-hitting moves, ground combos, air combos, OTG combos, combo extensions, I think there's an O missing there, and a free-form co-op experience that is focused on producing a fun time for players as opposed to simply trying to remove as many quarters from your pocket as possible. Vengeance Hunters is coming to Nintendo Switch, Sony PS4 and PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and Steam. And I've got to say, visually, I love the visuals here of the game. I'm just hoping the gameplay keeps up with the visuals. So let's take a look at Vengeance Hunters, and then we'll discuss what I didn't like about the trailer. And just to take as little real estate as possible, we're going to make myself all nice and small in the corner. So let's take a look. Game I find has a really 90s arcade feel to it. like big chunky characters, limited playfield, like almost like the X-Men beat 'em up. And I love the fact that they throw in these alternate levels here, like shoot 'em up levels and like riding levels. So this game came out today. I'm pretty sure this is a Brazilian studio, if I'm not mistaken. But honestly, I'm finding that it has a ton of potential here. The visuals are really on point. I love the enemy design, especially a lot of the bosses here have really cool enemy designs. I've got to say, I like the three characters. The female characters maybe like this boss here looks really, really freaking cool. Like, this maybe not the best shot of him, but where he's in, like, his attack face is a little better. But I can't get it. I can't get the still of that one. Here, this alien boss looks freaking cool. The female character is maybe my least interesting of the three designs. I really like the robot's design. I really like the male character's design. The whole thing is, does the gameplay come together? Does it run well on Switch? Well, that is going to be one of the definite questions we're going to have to answer. But I do think the game has a ton of potential here. So hopefully hopefully I'll be able to try it out pretty soon. I do plan on picking it up this week. I just want to make sure I have a hole to play it, because obviously if I don't have a hole to play it, I'm not going to pick it up, because maybe I'll be lucky and it's going to get on sale. But this is Vengeance Hunters, releasing on October 28th, and it sells for $19.99. Now, it is a little bit expensive for an unknown beat 'em up, but it's not overly expensive either. Like, a lot of unknown beat 'em ups have launched at $30 and been very successful. This is not a known IP, it's a brand new IP, so they're going to have to be careful. So I do think that it's a decent price, but I think they would have done better at $15. If I was like doing marketing for them, I would say, let's say I'm at 15. Let's get the game out there and you know, like, take it from there. But Vengeance Hunters, October 28th. If you're a beat 'em up fan, maybe wait for a review, but I think there is some high potential. Next, we have a game that I already played completely. I've already played it on stream. However, I played it on Steam when we played it on stream. And now the game is finally launched on Switch. It came out today as well, October 28th. And this game is only $4.99, and it is called The Legend of Santa. Honestly, I replayed the game on Switch. I played through all three worlds. It is a short game, but it is pretty fun. And I've got to say, the boss levels do kick up the difficulty quite a bit. So it's 2 hours if you do like straight playthrough and you don't die too much. But some people could have a little bit of problem with the boss levels and could have a more extended gameplay. But basically, if you've ever played Super Mario Bros. 3, the physics in this game feel exactly like Super Mario Bros. 3, but done over with a Christmas skin to it. Let's take a look at the trailer. It's not a very long one, but honestly, if you're looking for a short, sweet little game, I do think nonetheless this has some fun to deliver. And it's pure Super Mario Bros. 3 the whole time. You've got a few different power-ups as well. And honestly, the power-ups feel good. The new Halloween-themed levels are also a really nice addition. And I find that level design-wise, they have some of the most original ideas in the game. Like a lot of the early levels, especially I would say the first world, felt very derivative of Super Mario Bros. 3, maybe a little too derivative. Like nothing felt super new, but once you get to the third world, the Halloween world, almost every level I found had some very original mechanics. And it was a pretty fun experience. I don't know, because I was in contact with the developer a bit. I don't know if they still have other updates planned. I sort of hope they do, because I do think like if they could get to 5 worlds in future updates, I feel the game would feel extremely high value. I find that right now at $5 for how short the game is, it feels okay. But I think if you could add 1 or 2 more worlds, it would feel it would pump it up to awesome value. You know what I mean? Because if you could get that like 3 to 4 hour mark for $5, I mean, there are some action platformers out there that are $20 that offer you a good 4 to 5 hours, and people still love them. So I do think it is nonetheless a pretty interesting game for this week. Next, we have a game that unfortunately is extremely overpriced, but I still want to take a look at it because I've never played these games, and these are retro arcade games that I've never played, which doesn't happen too often. I have never played these. They are a Saturn tribute. It is called Wolfgang 2001 and Skullfang Saturn Tribute Boosted. We're going to take a look at the trailer. Is there a blurb to this one? Yes. Shoot 'em up fans, watch the trailer for the upcoming Switch collection Wolfgang Skullfang Saturn Tribute Boosted. It's out in Japan on October 31st, and we are getting it here as well on October 31st. So let's hit the thumbs up here. I forgot to do that. And let's watch the trailer. Only problem is it is seriously overpriced. Sorry, I forgot to say the price. It is $29.99 and $26.99 currently because there is a 10% sale right now. But $30 for 2 retro remakes, or retro ports, I would rather say, feels very overpriced. We're going to look at the gameplay. I just don't... I really think this collection should have launched at like $15 to $20 max, but let's still look at the gameplay. It's too bad because the gameplay looks extremely promising. Super excited when I watched the trailer, and it's right up my type of gameplay. Yes, I purposely did not cover it Canadian shit. Like, come on, it's arcade, mecha-based gameplay. The music is great. Skullfang looks like an awesome shoot-'em-up. To be honest, I'm more excited about the first one, Wolfgang. But still, Skullfang seems like an awesome shoot-'em-up. Let me know how it is, Canadian chick. I didn't have high hopes. Yeah, the music is really good. I'm worried about copyright, so if you guys hear the music and I'm saying it's really good, just check out the trailer down below in the links if I have to mute it after. And these are long trailers too. Why is the quality so garbage? Give me a second. Holy crap, what the hell? Wow. The trailers are maxing 360 quality though. That's why the trailer looks so grainy. Guys, that's not the stream, that's really just the trailer with a maximum 360 quality. Super loud. It's the same noise level as the other trailers. I'll put it down a bit just in case other trailers are recorded that loud. Yeah, it's 4:3. Yeah, exactly. But sometimes the trailer nonetheless can be in 760p and like, you know, be like letterboxed. The music was super loud. Sorry about that, guys. But 2 games. This is 2 games and it's $30. That's why I'm saying it's like overpriced. So, but nonetheless, I still think that the gameplay looks extremely promising. This is one, though, I would recommend waiting for a sale. They look awesome. I wanted to showcase them because the gameplay seems extremely interesting. When I saw it, I was super excited till I saw the price tag. I was okay, we're going to wait for this one. So I turned it down, though, nonetheless. All the other games might be a little quieter, but at least if another one pumps out like at this level, it's not going to hurt anyone's ears. But overall, I still think if you are a fan of this, keep an eye out for a future sale. Most likely, I'll be covering it in eShop deals when it does happen. Okay, so now we move on to our third game for today, which is Shadows of the Damned Hella Remastered, which is also releasing on October 31st, and this one's going to be selling for $24.99. Now, this is the remake of a game of Shadow of the Damned. And honestly, my question with this one is the performance on the Switch, because although it's the remake of an older game, it has also been remade for PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S. So I'm worried a little bit about what the performance is going to be like on Switch. However, the gameplay is just over-the-top fun, which can be very promising. Let's take a quick look, and then we'll discuss once again what we just saw.
The bullet train is here, Hell Monkey.
By the way, Hotspur, how is your dear sweet?
Welcome to Gate. Thank you for the $1.91. Hey everyone, what's up? This one feels loud again, eh? I turned it down a bit though, so it shouldn't be too bad. It's like a crazy, like, third-person shooter. The gameplay just looks over the top. And once again, it's very rare, but it's another game that I have not played the original. It doesn't happen that often that there's a lot of games I haven't played like originals when we're talking about remakes. But this week it's going to be a recurring theme. Like, there's another series of games coming out this week that I actually haven't played the original. So I'm like super interested because it will be my first experience of the games. music is pounding, man. I don't know, this music, the whole gameplay, man, I think it would give me, like, it would, like, I don't know, like, freak me out eventually. That drum beat, man, is, like, intense. I don't think we have any other gameplay after this, right? No. Okay, we can stop with the screaming now. There's maybe just a bit too much screaming though in the soundtrack, but yeah, Shadows of the Dam, $24.99. Look, the gameplay looks over the top insanity. If anyone out there in the comments wants to share what their experience was of the original, or if anyone in the chat does, I'd love to hear about it. I did not play the original, but just seeing this, I'm sort of wondering why the heck didn't I play the original? Because it looks, once again, like something that would be right up my alley, like gameplay-wise. Because although I'm a fan of retro-style games, I love playing 3D games, especially when they have like an over-the-top like type of gameplay like this. You know, love Devil May Cry, and this was giving me sort of the same types of vibes, but in a different gameplay style, like a third-person shooter rather than an action game. But overall, I still think this could be a high-potential game, but $24.99, once again, a little bit pricey for a remaster of a game that a lot of people haven't, like, I haven't heard that many people saying, like, oh yeah, I know what this game is, it looks awesome. But definitely one I think to keep on the radar for this week. Next, we have one game that I am extremely excited about because I'm a huge fan of the series. Now, this game is once again on October 31st, and it is Raiden Nova. So Raiden is one of a very long-running shoot 'em up series in like Japanese shoot 'em up series. Well, this is a different take. It is in the Raiden series, but they have reimagined the Raiden franchise as a twin-stick shooter. And you know I love my twin-stick shooters as well. So I'm actually super excited to try this one out. Raiden Unite gets ready to blast into a thrilling new dimension like never before. The legendary vertical scrolling shooter Raiden is reborn as a thrilling twin-stick 2D shooter. Freely aim and shoot with dual sticks, dodging bullets from every direction. Level up to unlock a variety of weapons and enhancements, and upgrade your ship to fight your way through epic battles. Now, this one, once again, like I said, releasing on October 31st. However, once again, it is a pricey sales tag at $29.99. Currently with a 10% discount, so $26.99. However, just to let you know, the Raiden franchise generally launches at more expensive than this. So this is actually a cheaper release for them because most likely it's a new reimagining of the series. But let's take a look at it, and you guys can tell me what you think of the trailer as well. Like, the visuals still scream Raiden. If you've played, like, Raiden, like, 3 through 5, that are also available on the Switch. Now I'm going to think there is a couple of things that do worry me. When I say worry, I just mean Raiden is such a long-running shoot-'em-up franchise, and I think they're one of the staples in the genre, and I think they are often a measuring stick for a lot of other games also in the genre. Now, I'm not saying that Raiden is the best. I'm just saying that there is such a long-running, it's like sort of the measuring stick where are you better than Raiden or are you weaker than Raiden? And Raiden is like sort of the expectation that you get, okay? What, however, worries me is that because they are such a recognized franchise in that genre and that measuring line, to jump into the twin stick shooter genre, that they're sort of starting with they're late to that genre. Like the twin stick shooter genre has been around for so many years now and been perfected by so many games that for a series that is so long running to only do the jump now to trying out that genre, I feel like they're starting with they're like late to the party a bit. Exactly. Raiden and Gradius are the standards for the genre for a lot of people. If you don't so I'm just hoping that because they're starting like from a rear position, like a late to the party position, is they have to bring something new. It's not going to be enough just to be good and be like as good as the others. If they don't bring something new and do something better, they're sort of letting you down. If you understand, because they're such a trailblazer for shoot 'em ups that if they don't trailblaze twin stick shooters, you're better off just not jumping into the genre, because you're going to be letting your longtime fans down that are expecting something mind-blowing and something new from you. So that is where I'm just a bit worried, where good isn't going to be good enough. It has to be great because they are great in their genre. You know, it's like if FromSoft launches into a new genre, it's not enough to just put out a decent game. It has to be a great game, because or else everyone's going to be disappointed because we're so used to getting great games from them. So even if it's outside of your genre, you can't allow yourself to put out a okay game, if that makes any sense. That's my vision. That's my worry here. So my worry isn't about the game itself. My worry is the game going to be good enough for the legacy that Raiden has? And I'm a huge shoot 'em up fan as well. I know I'm saying like I'm a fan of a lot of genres, but I am a fan of a lot of genres. And just by coincidence, this week we're getting a lot of games in genres that I play a lot of. Okay. So we have a few more games left for October 31st. October 31st is really the big launch day for this week. It's normal. A lot of people are trying to cash in on the Halloween vibes. Our next one is going to be Wormhole. And I actually have the Nintendo Switch. This is the Canadian price. So don't look at this price. It's actually $9.99 in the US. And it's currently on sale for $8.99. The reason why I have here is because I could not find the trailer on YouTube, but the trailer is on the eShop itself. So we're going to be watching the trailer directly from the eShop. But basically, Wormhole, let's read the little blurb here on the eShop. I forgot that because I'm used to doing it at the video. In Wormhole, you're a giant space worm eating, shooting, dashing, and exploding your way through the cosmos. Warp through wormholes to navigate obstacles, refill your energy, and quickly find your next meal. This adrenaline-fueled arcade action game features galaxies to consume, a stackable perk system, worms with cowboy hats, and a spooky chiptune soundtrack ripped straight from Dracula's tape deck. So, 100 handcrafted level, 3 unique abilities, each with your own playstyle and a variety of stackable perks, over 60 unlockable color palettes, and a high-energy retro-inspired chiptune soundtrack. And honestly, the gameplay seems very promising here, especially considering that it's from a more budget perspective. And it's an evolution of the Snake game, okay? It goes way beyond it, but to begin with, it's an evolution of that oh-so-classic Snake game that we probably anyone who's born before 1990 has definitely played at one point on a computer somewhere, and most likely even people born after that have at least seen it. Yeah, it's the snake game from Nokia phones. I'll check it out then. If Care Bears you say could be pretty decent, I'll check it out. Is it? I'm not sure if it's $10 on Switch as well, but I'll take a look.
Eat 'em all.
A little loud again. I'm sorry. Seem to be having trouble with the volume control tonight. Gonna hit it even a little lower. I'd rather the music be a little lower. That it especially overshadow my voice if I do want to make a few comments. But overall, soundtrack looks really, really good. And the gameplay seems to be doing just enough to really evolve the whole the snake game concept. And the levels seem diverse enough where you're never going to feel like you're actually playing just a snake game. So I do feel like this is doing enough here. The visual monochrome style as well sort of really works well with the style of gameplay. So overall, I think we have something really interesting here with the with Wormhole, and especially the fact that it's releasing at like a budget $9.99 price tag. Because like I said, don't forget the price tag on the screen. That's just because I'm on the Canadian eShop here. Just because even when I try to use the US one, it kicks me to Canada unless I use my VPN, and the VPN causes issues when I'm streaming. So yeah, that was a no-go for this. That's also why I try to not watch trailers on the eShop, but we're actually gonna have to do it twice tonight. So a lot of coincidences tonight. But Wormhole coming out on October 31st, I think is a fun option. Now, we are talking Halloween, okay, guys? So I did try to find at least a couple of horror games that seemed interesting. Now, the problem is a lot of the horror games this year seemed trashy. Because I don't count like the Retro Realms games as horror games because they're 2D action platformers. To me, it's not going to scare anyone. But I'm talking about the horror games. There were a lot. But I tried to go through them, and I found two that I think have potential to be pretty decent games. I combined information on the trailers, information on whether the games were out on Steam already or not, and what type of reviews it got on Steam, and overall the vibes I got from the game. Now, this does not mean that these games will definitely be excellent games. I just think that if you are looking for a horror game on Halloween, these are the two less known games that would have maybe the highest chance of being some pretty decent releases. So our first one is going to be Self-Delusion, which is releasing on October 31st. It sells for $14.99, and it has no blurb down below. So let's take a look at Self-Delusion release trailer, and I'll give you my thoughts.
Fairy tales from childhood. Tales about Gobbos, Lashy, Bogger, and other harmless characters. Well, don't tell it yourself. That's all was a lie. What the hell is it?
So I found this one was giving
When
pretty
I decided
decent
to visit
vibes.
my mother, it turned out that the house was taken over by evil creatures who certainly didn't belong here. Danger is lurking in every room, and bloodthirsty Lapotis crawling under my feet. Every hour, there come more and more monsters. But if they expect I will surrender and run away, they are wrong.
So the game seemed to have enough interesting visuals that I was like, the Patrick Star game was a horror game, you're right. But was horrible in a different way. So I found this one had enough visuals, and it seemed to have some interesting like chase-like sequences where for a $14.99 game, if you're looking for a new horror game that you've never played before, so you sort of don't know the story, you don't know what's going on, seemed to have some potential. Now, Steam had some really good Steam reviews, but there were not a lot of Steam reviews. There were like something like 50 or 60 Steam reviews. And I just want to warn, the reason why it's hard to trust Steam reviews when there's such a low amount is that it's really easy as a developer to get review keys for Steam, to give them to a bunch of your friends and tell your friends to all give you like 9 or 10 out of 10s. So it is possible that like the 50 people that played the game all know the developer and gave them pretty decent reviews. You understand? Which is less the case if the game has like 1,000 reviews. Especially for smaller developers, like for them to get or buy 1,000 review keys would be highly unlikely, just to sort of boost the score of their game. But 50, you could be in that type of scenario. But at the same time, it's not only like 3 or 4 reviews, so it could also be that the game does have some pretty interesting offerings for the price they're selling it at. So Self-Delusion, coming out on October 31st. It's sort of a long shot, but out of all the horror games, because there were a lot, and there were a lot that looked bad, I do think this one looked slightly to have potential. Now, the other one is also October 31st. It's more expensive, however. It is $24.99, and it is The Beast Inside. Now, I would say that this is probably the highest potential one out of the two. So let's take a look at the trailer. Do we have a little blurb here? Yeah. Okay, sorry. In The Beast Inside, play as Adam and Nicholas, pitted against each other to uncover the dark truth and conquer the evil that binds them together. Who will win and who will perish and be forgotten? So let's take a look at the trailer. And like I said, this one, however, seems to have higher
really
potential,
doing
but
this?
also higher price tag.
Moving so far away from civilization to be the man who will turn the tide of war when everything else fails. Millions of lives are at stake. And I have to save them, finish my work, break the code before it breaks me. Time is not on my side. Determination means everything now. For too long I've been misled, but the answer was there, right in front of me.
Like already you can see that the visuals are much cleaner here than the previous game. So yes, it's more expensive, but I think the production values are higher as well. It's very dark, however. Like sometimes it's really hard. Like it's obviously purposeful. Like it's made on purpose so that you never see exactly what's around you. But I think that if you're looking for like a scary horror game to take a chance on, and you don't mind spending like $25, The Beast Inside does have maybe more potential. Once again, though, please take it with a grain of salt, because I sort of forced myself to find 2 horror games that I found had potential. But if we were just in a normal week, I'm not sure I would have highlighted these games. This one, however, has very positive Steam reviews, and there are over 1,000 reviews. But it is coming from a bigger studio, so once again, it can be taken with a slight grain of salt. Also, how is it going to run on the Switch is always a question to be asked. You might want to wait for, like, to see if anyone has a review out maybe a day early or something like that. It could happen for these games. I looked at Clock Tower. I wasn't impressed, unfortunately, to be honest, Champ Thatcher. I did look at it. I just was like, we have so many other games to look at for this week. It sort of didn't make the cut for me. Okay, now we're gonna talk about the other game series that has ports or remakes that are coming to Nintendo Switch that I have never played, the Stalker trilogy. Now, a lot of people said that there's some of these games that are pretty goddamn good, and I've never played the Stalker trilogy. But yes, all 3 games are coming to Switch on October 31st, and they're going to be sold for $20 a piece. So you have Stalker Call of Pripyat, or Pripyat. I'm not sure if you're the way to pronounce the I. Shadow of Chernobyl and Clear Sky. And so Stalker, Shadow of Chernobyl, and Stalker, Clear Sky. Now, this is a trilogy of games that a lot of people apparently are very excited for on the Nintendo Switch. Oddly, I haven't played the original games. Never really attracted me back in the day. But looking at the trailers now, you know what? I may be interested to dive in and see if it couldn't be something that is going to be fun to play through. So let's take a look at the trailer. It's a very short 30-second trailer. Really just gives us a general overview. So let's take a quick look. And that is it. So we don't get a lot. And honestly, I am really worried. Well, worried. I'm really wondering about performance on the Nintendo Switch. Because first-person shooters, especially when they have like a realistic type setting, yeah, they're first-person shooters from what I can see. And I read up a bit on them, because when I don't know the series and they're like, the Legendary series is coming to Switch, I was like, Legendary series? And look, I know, when I read up, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, people really were playing these games a lot. But I don't know, I just never got into the series, apparently, or the series never caught my eye back in the day. But I definitely wanted to highlight that they're releasing this week, because if you are a fan of the original Stalker games, I think a lot of people are going to be interested. I am just worried about performance on the Switch, because a lot of these FPS ports, they have to be done well to really get some quality gameplay out of them. But if they are well ported, I do think this could be a nice addition to the Nintendo Switch collection. On top of it, they seem to have very bleak, somber looks to them. which fit in with the Halloween type of season and everything. So I can see why they chose also October 31st to release the trilogy. So Stalker, but $20 a piece. I'm just going to give my 2 cents. Feels expensive. Not going to lie, $60 for all 3 games feels expensive given how old they are. But at the same time, I mean, we've had worse remakes or ports to the Switch than that price-wise. So it isn't awful pricing. It just seems a little bit expensive. Okay, so Stalker Trilogy, either you're going to be a fan or you're not. I think you're going to be able to answer that question for yourself. Now, we're going to finish up with October 31st with one more game, which is a indie game that has me very interested. I'm really liking the gameplay I'm seeing from the trailer. It has a sales price of $14.99, and it also has a downloadable demo on the eShop. And I'm going to say a free downloadable demo to trigger, I think it's Champ Dancer that always asks me, what's not a free demo? And but yes, a free downloadable demo on the Nintendo Switch eShop. And when a game offers a demo, I always have a tendency to believe that the game most likely is good, because very rarely do games put out demos that suck. Because if your game sucks, why would you put out a demo so that someone knows it sucks before they buy it? That is my thinking. So I always have a sort of predilection that if the game has a demo, I am leaning towards believing that the game is most likely going to be a pretty decent offering. But not only that, I watched the trailer. Trailer seemed very promising. So they are promising free updates. Obviously, the basis of the game is like a roguelike action game. I'm getting sort of like Mega Man-ish vibes from parts of it. The one thing I'm just going to say, and it's just a general comment, I'm starting to get a little bit over saturated with roguelikes, okay? Just because I feel like a lot of games are seeming to take it like the easy way out to offering like replayability rather than having to design levels. And I'm not saying this game is doing this specifically, it's just a general comment right now. A lot of games are coming out as roguelikes that I do feel like some games, it has to be properly dosed. And it has to be fitting with the overall gameplay. This could work out pretty decent, but I don't want to lose like crafted levels. I'm a person that I like playing roguelikes, but I like playing my crafted level games as well. And there's a beauty to both styles of gameplay. So I just hope like developers eventually start tending back towards the crafted levels as well from time to time in their games, and not everyone just jumps into the roguelike genre, because yes, it's very easy to get a high level of replayability from the game, but I think there's that personal touch that gets lost in some of these gameplays. There's games that make it work perfectly like Hades, and there's others where it feels like phoned in a bit, especially when there isn't a high level of variety between the levels. At that point, it just feels like, oh, okay. Rather than crafting like 50 really good levels, they crafted like 12 levels that sort of get reorganized. And it's sort of, easier than crafting 50 really good levels. But Astral Flux seems to have a ton of potential. The price feels pretty good at $14.99, but they're entering a very saturated market, the roguelike market. So they really, like, the game has to deliver to really be worth investing a lot of time into it. But yes, I do agree, looks pretty decent. And the roguelike comment was not directly directed to this game. It's just a general comment that I've been feeling for a while now, where I'm like, sometimes it feels forced in. And next on November 1st, we have Farmagia, which is coming to us from Marvelous. So I have a tendency to believe that Marvelous generally puts out some pretty solid games. Now this one, however, is going to be a full, like almost full priced release. The base game is $49.99. The digital deluxe is $59.99. And I think the best way to... Did they put a blurb here? Let me just see. Yeah, so it's basically a brand new adventure full of frantic monster combat and rewarding farming simulation. So it is a farming / adventure game, but it actually seems done in a different way than usual, which actually could turn out to be a ton of fun. So let's take a look at it. The only thing here is it's a full-priced release, but at the same time, as you'll see from the trailer, it is a very quality production.
Enter the underworld nation of Felicidad, separate from heaven and the human realm. In Felicidad, generals known as the Oración Seis rule each continent, and the Magus reigns over the Oración Seis and the entirety of Felicidad. But now, the Magus has died.
With the death of my predecessor, many of us have lost our way. Discipline yourselves and follow me. I shall usher our world into a grand paradise.
There are oppressive rulers, and those who stand against them.
Glaza's intentions are cruel. He plans to create a ruling class through a process of elimination. I won't allow that to happen.
This is the one where we saw that you could combine all the monsters. It was in one of the Nintendo Directs. I'm pretty sure this is the one.
Felicidad, a world where people and monsters coexist in harmony.
Well, this was the long
Here,
trailer. Right?
farmers
Yeah,
who raise and command monsters are known as Farmagia. These monster tamers serve as the pillars of society. You will plow your field, sow your seeds, water your crops, and harvest new buddies to join your adventure. Train your harvester buddies at your ranch.
Exactly.
And lead them into battle.
Let's go!
Command your buddies to defeat enemies and seek out epic boss battles.
And you see, you're going to be able to combine them into bigger monsters.
Take on the oppressors that stand in your way and liberate Felicidad.
Offer up your flesh.
Prostrate yourselves before my beauty.
The power of a reaper! If you want to protect something, you gotta fight for it!
Let the melody of madness ring!
I shall show them the folly of their insurrection. They shall learn the hard way.
Stop right there, Glaza. That's as far as you're gonna go.
Then I want no part of it!
Wipe this whole
Begging you, come back to us!
Command legions of monsters and become a Farmagia.
A Farmagia. I'm like Farmagia, like, but it's a Farmagia. So that is coming out on December 1st. It is a bigger release for this week. I think, honestly, it's one of the first monster tamers that has me actually somewhat interested, because Marvelous did the whatchamacallit 101, oh my god, why do I have a blank now? It's always like that when I want to say the title of a game. The Wonderful 101. And basically, it seems like it's almost borrowing mechanics from Wonderful 101, combining them with the monster taming sort of genre, and mixing in farming elements. The only thing is, like, growing monsters like that, we've actually saw that before in, like, that pixel art game that released in bad shape but was really built up later. I have a blank once again on the name, but I often feature it on eShop deals because at $5 it's like an excellent pickup. So it's just funny because it's reusing these mechanics that we've seen in other games, but doing them better. Doing them better. The one thing is, like, the $60 price tag feels a little expensive with all the games coming out right now. Like, if this was coming out in the month of, like, April or March or February, like, maybe not next year with Switch 2, but like a normal March, February, April, this seems like a really interesting game to drop $60 on. It's just currently with the landscape, it's hard. It's like hard to just say, like, yes, I want to drop $60 on this now. Or maybe I'm gonna wait till January or like you know, holiday sales, and maybe I'll be able to pick this thing up for $30. You know what I mean? Because I do think that if the game doesn't sell amazing after Christmas, we're gonna see this one on sale already. I do feel that. I do feel they're gonna try to, like, push sales with it pretty quick if the game doesn't sell amazing right off the go. But yeah, Pharmagia, I think, is one to keep an eye on. If you are a fan of the monster tamer genre, I do think this is going to be a very good one. I do think it's going to have more of an action perspective to it. Like, there's going to be an RPG perspective, but if you want my feeling, it feels like it's going to borrow mechanics from Wonderful 101 that has a very action-forward perspective. So I feel the battles are going to be fast-paced and action-oriented. Okay, we have one more game for this week. And this is a game coming out also on November 1st. This is, once again, not the right price because this is the Canadian eShop. We have Arrow the Acrobat, Rascal Rival Revenge, that is coming out on November 1st and will be selling for $5.99. Now, I played Arrow the Acrobat 1 on stream. We talked about the second one when it released. Well, this is the third release in the grouping, and this is the Game Boy Advanced remake of the first game. It is probably the better version of Arrow the Acrobat, to be honest. So if you did like the other two, or if you haven't picked up the other two but you were interested in, it might actually be a not so bad idea to start with this one. But let's take a look. Like I said, it's the port of the Game Boy Advanced version of Arrow the Acrobat. The first one I finished by putting infinite lives. But yes, I did finish the first one. I finished it by putting infinite lives on. I think I streamed it that way, like where we had infinite continues. So we have Arrow the Acrobat, Rascal Rival Revenge. Now, the one thing I'm going to say about this one is I do feel they should have released it as a collection rather than each one of the three games separately. Did I give the price? I think I did. It's $5.99. Like I said, this is the Canadian price. Do not look at the screen for the price. The US price is $5.99. But I do think that they should have released the three games as a collection rather than releasing them each one by one. Like, I think they could have done like a $10 collection with all three of them in there, or even maybe a $15 collection with all three of them in there. And I think they would have been better served that way. And I think especially for these retro games, people are now expecting like little collections. Like the Castlevania collections, the different ones and whatnot. So I do feel that the one marketing thing that they did that's weird is releasing them all one by one rather than a collection of all three. But who knows? They might release separately a collection of all three. It just felt weird that they released them like that, staggered, like almost like a month apart, each one of the three games. But it's a retro series. The only thing is there are some weird controls to the game. So if you've never played Aero the Acrobat before, you can watch my stream. I talk about it and I give examples. But the control scheme is a little weird on the game. But once you get used to it, the game actually plays pretty decent. And it's a really fun throwback retro platformer. I wouldn't say it's on the level of Sonic or those, but it is like a B tier of that generation of platformers. So there we have it. This week's new Nintendo Switch games that really, caught my attention. As I say, it's not an exhaustive list. It is not all the games coming out this week. I've actually skipped quite a few that seemed lackluster. But these are the games I think that definitely stood out for this week. Now, I do also want to mention that next week's list is going to have a lot of bigger games on it. So if you do want to get your wallet ready, I would be careful on this end because next week's going to have a lot of more expensive games on it. And we're going to really get into that final holiday push next week. Start of that holiday push, because I'll be honest, it goes through November. It's going to quiet down in the last week of November, first week of December. It quiets back down, but we're going to have like 2 or 3 back-to-back pretty intense weeks coming up. So hopefully, if you were looking for something new, you did find something new in today's list. But those were definitely some games to look out for this week. Okay, we are done the new game section. Sorry guys, I want to try to do a little better intro and outro for the, when I repost it the next day for people that just want to watch the new games. So if it feels a little weird on the stream format, it's just because I'm doing like a mini like intro outro thing, so that when I edit it together, it makes a better start and end to it. But honestly, it felt good to have a quieter week, but I do feel like 1 or 2 of the developers from last week could have moved their bigger games to this week and had more success. Like last week seemed overloaded with a lot of expensive games. This week, I'm like, dude, like even 1 or 2 of those games could have just shifted over a week and probably had a much better launch this week. Because there's no way that last week with 22 good games, that all those 22 games made great sales numbers. And like I said, they were maybe not all AAA games last week, but they were all like pretty solid. Whew. Okay, guys, I think we are going to call it like pretty soon a night. I'm going to stick around for another like 3-4 minutes. If anyone has any questions, if anyone wanted to talk about something more specifically that maybe I missed out on the news, let me know in the chat in the next couple of minutes. But if not, I think we're going to call it because actually, we chatted quite a bit in the meantime. We took some time off. I told you my awesome, terrible Saturday night story. Remember Rick, Sony's 30th anniversary stuff again tomorrow at 10 Eastern Daylight Time. Yeah. I'm gonna try to watch it, but honestly, if I'm working on a video, I'm gonna prioritize like getting out a Switch video. Just because I work late tomorrow. I finish at like 8 p.m. tomorrow, and start at noon. The Castlevania, yeah, I want to get the Castlevania DVD. Yes, for Vampire Survivors, definitely. So Friday night, just in case you guys don't remember, we're going to be playing the remake of the arcade game from the Castlevania Dominus collection. We're going to most likely be playing Tormented Souls. Unless something really big comes up between now and Friday. The Dominus collection, it's sure that we're playing. And I still want to try to find before Friday a way to stream Sonic X. Halloween, I'm reserving that it is very possible I'm going to stream. I would say even maybe highly possible. It all depends on how it goes with the kids. Okay? So that is the only thing I want to say. Like, it really is more dependent on how Halloween goes with the kids and stuff. My kids are older, but my youngest still wants to go trick-or-treating. So I just don't want to, like, you know, exactly. That Halloween for the kids comes first. And if everything turns out well, they turn in bed early. And I can come down and do like a late 10 o'clock stream or something like that, then I definitely will. Because yes, I feel like Halloween stream would be fun. And we still have to stream Sonic X Shadow. And if I don't have time before then, maybe we'll do it on Halloween. But to me, the Halloween stream was more Friday night. You know, like Friday is the official Halloween stream, even though it's not on Halloween. Not only that, but I think it's going to be easier for everyone to make the stream. Because on Halloween, on Thursday, maybe some of you are going to have work parties. Maybe some of you are going to have friend parties. Maybe some of you are going to have kids, and it's going to be harder to watch a stream or anything like that. So I do think at the same time, it's like... And I, as a parent, I know that when I would go out trick-or-treating after, I was just tired and fed up. So maybe some of you like to chill out and watch the stream, but at the same time, maybe some of you are just going to want to go to bed. But either way, keep an eye out on Thursday. There's a strong possibility. I just don't want to promise because it really depends on how everything this week went. And like I said, I'm super behind on reviews. It's getting worse and worse each week because, like, what sucks is, like, Sunday morning, I want, like, if I wouldn't have had all the problems, I could have actually done a review instead and, like, had a much easier day and even streamed at night. But things got off the rails, as usual, as every time, everything, like, it basically always, the norm now is that things go off the rails. So, hey, thank you everyone for showing up for tonight. You guys have been amazing with the donations once again. So I just want to thank everyone that showed up and everyone that donated. It is very appreciated. It does help, you know, make things easier. So hope I'll see all of you very soon. And as usual, I'll see you in my next video. Have a great one, guys. And we'll see each other very, very soon.